Hello, 18 people. I guess everyone's back at work-ish, but I'm gonna eat and bake, so I figured I'd put on a live. This mangosteen is very old. I doubt it tastes very good anymore, but I'm gonna cut it open now. Hello, Argentina. So, hi Germany. Definitely not in great shape, but I think it might still be edible. I think is the key word. Are we twinning today? Hi, Turkey. Doesn't taste very good anymore. Sad. I waited way too long. I don't know why I did that to myself. But I did. But when you can get a mangosteen fresh, it tastes pretty good. I am going to eat the lasagna that we made yesterday. I'm going to microwave it. I'm going to eat some of those mushroom fish cake stir fry that we did with the gochujang too. I'm going to have some salad greens, and I'm going to think about how to bake this sweet potato mash into something. I feel like I want it to be maybe banana bread inspired, but I'm not sure. Not sure yet. I will know soon. But I think I need some food inside me first. Yes, Hong Kong, I get it. People. I went to Aaron's today and ended up bringing him a slice of this lasagna, and he said it wasn't bad. That he usually doesn't like lasagna because it reminds him too much of meatloaf, but this one he tolerated. And so, how's the quality right now? How's the video? How's the audio quality? I have you by the window, so hopefully it's a little bit better than it used to be. We've discovered after 2 months of being here that the wall is a hindrance to our data reception. So I'm glad we're looking good, and maybe we don't fucking need Spectrum in the house, because they suck. Audio is so-so, probably because it's mad honking outside right now. For our salad greens, I don't know if I'm going to dress it in anything other than this peanut sauce that I have left over from like 2 weeks ago. Gross, right? But now's as good a time to eat it as ever. I would like a big bowl for it. Maybe this one. I am going to put this peanut sauce in the bowl, water it down so that it's a dressing quality, and then we'll talk. here instead of water. Get my vitamin C in, which, speaking of vitamin time, this is your friendly reminder to take your vitamins. Is it just me, or does it keep freezing and sound keeps jumping? I don't know. Is it? Are you guys experiencing all of those things too? Sound is jumping. Well, I don't know what to do about that. We either move away from the window, or... So maybe reception isn't so great, huh? How is it here? Let's try something else. I don't know, we're just gonna experiment. That's a good dressing. That's the consistency I'm aiming for. I got this bag of salad greens for $1. I should probably wash it. Well, last night I didn't wash it, and I haven't gotten sick yet, so I'm not gonna wash it again today. And if I get sick, then I guess I have only myself to blame. So, situated in this part of the kitchen, are we good? Audio, video? Could be the microwave too, I don't know, guys. I truly am at a loss. But welcome to Monday. I have had a fairly okay start to my day. I hope you as well. It is January 2nd, 2023. I visited Grandma today. She is doing okay, but I did not walk her outside because it is dark and gloomy. And honestly, I've decided that for this year, I just need some space and time away from my daily visits with her. I know I don't give her that much to begin with, but I also feel like when she starts acting up, I need to get a little bit of distance from the situation. So here we go. I'm going to take a bite of this salad that, guys, I can't, this is why I can't do salads. They're just so ridiculously nasty to eat in their whole leaf shape. You gotta chop up salads. I just don't understand how anyone can not chop up salads. How do you fit all of that dressed green into your mouth without brushing your entire cheeks with salad dressing? My sense of smell and taste, it has returned, but I don't know if it's 10 out of 10 returned. And I don't care anymore because as long as I can taste some, it's fine. Delicious salad dressing. I am still working at on that epically long H Mart haul video. The peanut dressing will be in there, although I don't have a recipe. I just made it by eye, so. Here is our lasagna. We have a layer of noodles, a layer of carrot mash, a layer of noodles, a layer of broccoli, a layer of noodles, and a layer of TVP flavored with chili oil. Finally, another layer of noodles, plus there's sauce and cheese on every layer. So, I really like this. I think I did a damn good job with it. And I fully enjoy eating. Definitely better when fresher. Definitely a lot mushier today than it was yesterday. Yeah, maybe Aaron was being nice because this was way more delicious yesterday, which is fine. I don't mind it. It's still good. And fun fact, he didn't even need to put any spicy condiment on it because I already put spicy things in it, and apparently that was enough for him to enjoy. Not bad. Here's our sweet potato mash. I almost, you know what? You're gonna hate me, but I'm gonna put a little bit of this on top of the lasagna. Because I want a little bit of sweetness to balance out the spiciness, which is not too spicy. But I just want it in there. So I live in a block, on a block, I guess. I live in a neighborhood that has a couple of blocks that is very, like, South Asian immigrant heavy, and truly some of these honk cultures, I think, are, like, very Indian. I just feel like there's constant honking outside, and it's very acceptable in these streets to honk like this, which is, I mean, I basically traded off airplane noise for honking, so I don't know which one's worse. Is anyone else buffering? I keep getting notes from people that are like, audio's not good. Today's buffering. Is it stopping and going? I have no idea what kind of tech issues we're running into. So you let me know if it doesn't work for you, and I'll move the camera again. Sweet potato is excellent. Okay. Let's think about sweet potato mash. I have the rest of this fig jam. We should use that up. I don't want it to sit on its own. It's never gonna get used. I also have peanut butter and tahini. Okay, I've decided exactly what weird thing we're gonna make. we're gonna be making a gluten-free sweet potato cake of sorts with corn flour and cassava flour. I'll probably put an egg in there and figs, but it's not going to be similar to Budget Eats in terms of a budget or using up all of the ingredients entirely. So that is a format I will not be touching again. I'm done with that phase of my life. I hope you guys can stop asking for Budget Eats because I consider that chapter of my life closed. In terms of whether or not it'll be similar to Budget Eats in that I will be the one basically producing it, hosting it, creating the food content that is shown in it, yes, it's going to be very similar to Budget Eats in that it is going to be long form. It is going to be a lot of my face up close to the camera eating stuff and me fucking shit up and trying to be stupidly quirky about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is probably combine the sweet potato with some sugar. I have some of this Chinese red sugar, which is very molassesy heavy, and granulated sugar. And I'll think about in terms of flavoring if I want any cinnamon in there. Do I want any cinnamon in there? It's gonna be corn. Corn has a flavor already. Let's be smart about this. The fig bars were great. Okay. I think I want sesame seeds in there. And let's use up a little bit of this cardamom, carrot, lavender. Yes, I brought some fig bars over to my friend Mel's. It was weird. There was 3 types of alcohol in it. I don't know if he was a big fan, but I like them, and maybe I'll eat one soon. I like the tahini one, but I think it could have used a little more sugar. The parts that had a little more tahini came across as like very bitter. Jesus Christ, man. It's not been this bad. You also got fired. Oh man. I guess 'tis the season to get fired. Next, I will be eating the remaining salad greens with this concoction that we made yesterday with the Korean fish cakes and the seaweed and the mushroom. I'm gonna chop them all together in the bowl because I like my shit bite-sized because I'm a little baby. while I continue to brainstorm our sweet potato cake, I also, am I saying that word right now? Have these marshmallows. And what better way than to put marshmallows in a sweet potato cornbread thingy-majiggy? Am I right or am I right? I am feeling very moderately low energy today, but very manic as soon as I start to think about how to fuck shit up in the kitchen. So, I'm excited that we're gonna be baking. But I do need to finish eating my lunch first. Who else got fired? Oh, Stacy, Jesus Christ. Okay, so from what I know from Instagram's horoscopes, we are in Mercury retrograde. I don't know if anybody else cares about horoscopes. But in case your life is sucking major balls right now, you can blame it on Mercury being in retrograde, I guess. Stacy is hilarious. I was back at Aaron's today, and he was just being nice to me and all and giving me advice. But something about that triggered me, and I went on this whole long rant, and he basically said, you know what? We don't need to do this right now. There's a reason why we separated. And I was like, you're right. Amen to that. And I shut the fuck up. So hopefully, Stacy, once you heal from the shock of the news and discover a different way of existing separately, it will feel good. I hope, you know? But I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure it's not a pleasant thing to be dealt that news. But hey, we're going into our slut eras, right? That's what Instagram is all saying now? I'm like, what? No, I'm just staying home and eating my body weight in peanut butter and fig bars. He was just concerned for me. He was like, your video file is so huge, we need to find a way to back it up. And I'm like, dude, I literally have no idea how to back up shit from a remote drive, from your computer. Like, I'm so tech challenged. I can't do any of this, and it's giving me a lot of stress right now because I'm just trying to like finish this project on a timeline. And you know, I have to share your computer with you, which you have so generously given me, but like I don't need one more thing on my head to stress about. And I was just ranting. So he didn't do anything wrong. He just gave me advice, but like his advice gave me stress, and I was like, I can't handle the stress right now. So it's very good that we have our space. What a weird concoction this is. I need more peanut dressing. But I can also read your comments at the same time. Maybe? YouTube sometimes takes the comments away from me. How have I been sleeping? Not terribly. Better than 2 weeks ago. So, hopefully it continues to not be terrible. But I'm still not getting more than 5 hours of sleep. It's just better. Better quality sleep, but still 5 hours. My body still refuses. Hi, Ram. Welcome to this Monday. So apparently some people have been telling me that they have not been getting notifications. Like a couple of you actually. I don't know what's going on with that. I think it happened most with the lives that I scheduled in advance. I'm not sure. Fred is fine. You can check my Instagram stories for updates on Fred. Okay. My favorite thing to do is to walk and eat. And my other favorite thing to do is to cook and eat. So we're gonna start on the cake. I hope you're ready. We're gonna start with some olive oil. I'm gonna wing it, but I'll tell you what the measurements are, as I always do. I'm gonna go with a 1/4 cup of olive oil, so that's about 60 grams. Then I'm gonna go in with $75 grams of granulated sugar. And 25 grams of this weird red sugar that is super, super concentrated in its molassesiness. And what we're gonna do is just get these incorporated and introduced to each other. And we're gonna break down any chunks of this red sugar that has crystallized in here. Hi Gina. Hi Christian. My day was great. Thanks for asking. So far so good, at least. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. It's funny, I keep saying about how mom dying has affected me, but it's true. Somebody wrote me a Instagram DM this morning. I obviously can't pull it up, but you can look at my Instagram stories. I posted a DM, and it's about how they found me through Budget Eats, and then they followed me on my private, on my personal YouTube, and then they followed me on Instagram, and they were shocked at how someone who seems so capable can seem so mundane and melancholic and affected by grief for such an extended amount of time. And I replied to them and said that, you know, just like love, grief cannot be compared. It cannot be explained. It doesn't follow logic. And the reason why I don't miss mom as much now anymore is that I feel like she's integrated into me and that I carry the weight of death within me. And that is actually what's given me peace. So they ended the message by saying that they didn't understand how I could feel that way until they lost their own mom. And they can understand now. It wasn't a mean message. Gina, it wasn't a mean message at all. I didn't give you the second half of that message due to my storytelling inadequacies. I think they really resonated with me, especially after suffering the passing of their own mom. And, you know, like, even if you have lost someone that you love, you won't know what it feels like for someone else to go through their own loss. Everyone grieves differently, and everyone grieves for different amounts of time, and it hits people differently, and we don't always have the same relationship with our loved ones, so we definitely won't have the same grieving patterns. I had a friend who lost her mom about 3 months after I lost mine, and she kept comparing herself to me in the early stages of grief, and she was like, well, how many months has it been since your mom passed? Like, was this the way you felt after 2 months of her dying? And I was just like, there's no point in comparing. Like, you're not gonna be me because we're not the same person. We didn't have the same mom. We didn't have the same upbringing. We didn't have the same experience. Like, what's the point, girl? You know? But as a society, I think we're encouraged to constantly be comparing ourselves to other people because we want to know if we're normal. right? Whatever fucking normal means, we want to know if we are it. And that's something that I still struggle with, but I'm trying to bring myself out of that framework of what normal is and whether or not I fall within that boundary. I think for a very long time, having been an immigrant twice before the age of 8, I always wanted to be normal. I always wanted to be assimilated. I always wanted to be integrated. I wanted to be accepted. I didn't want to be ostracized. I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to be foreign. I didn't want to be odd. I didn't want to be weird. I didn't want to be any of those until I realized, well, you fucking are. Like, you don't belong. So own it. Because you can't not be it. You are it. So if this is the way you are, then this is the way you will exist. And there is no use in fighting yourself. And you should just come to terms with it. So that is what I have spent the last decade of my life doing. I have not finished doing it. It is constant work, just like all kinds of social movements and political movements. The movements within yourself will take forever as well. The only thing that will keep me afloat is to realize that it is not the end goal I am trying to attain. It is simply opening myself up to change as it happens. I can't really force it one way or another because for the most part I am pretty helpless. In the grand scheme of things, I am nothing. So, cheers. Oil, sugar. I'm gonna do a tiny pinch of salt. I don't normally do it, but I think it belongs right now. And we will go in with our sweet potatoes so I can see how wet this is and how much dry we need to put in to offset it. It is 176 grams of sweet potato mash. I didn't measure it, but it maybe is 3/4 to 1 whole cup of sweet potato mash. 1 cup of water is 240 grams. I don't know, sweet potato mash is maybe denser than water, so there's that. And we're just gonna fold it. I could be using a whisk, but I don't really want to wash one more thing. It's okay. You can give a like on the video if you want, and if you don't want to, you don't gotta. We don't live for the algorithm. We don't live for the ad revenue. We just live to survive and do whatever keeps us afloat. And there is more things than just money that keep us afloat, says a person who has enough to not starve or be homeless right now. So, yes, I do have privilege, acknowledging that. But in my realm so far, I don't give a shit. You can follow, you can not follow, you can like, you can dislike, I don't care. But if you're here and you're enjoying this on some level, it makes me happy. Don't join Instagram just for me, girl. Like, keep that shit out of your life. You don't need it. If you've been fine and jolly without it, continue existing without it. I think you have enough of me on here already. Stop peer pressuring each other to like this video. Gosh. Okay, we're gonna go in with an egg because I would like some semblance of nutrition in the form of protein and nice chicken fat, I guess. So 1 egg. That was a fairly small egg. It was about 43 grams. Usually large eggs run about 50 to 55 grams without the shell. So this was medium. Karen, you joined Instagram just for me? You're also the Karen who likes every single one of my stories, aren't you? I see you. I see you. I'm making like a sweet potato cake that's gluten-free with cornmeal and cassava flour. I think if you give me the likes, apparently the algorithm will pick up on it, and once the algorithm picks up on my content, I might have more views, and more views lead to more ad revenue. But like, I don't want to think like that, because I don't want anyone to behave like that. I don't want to get Pavlovian trained to be dogs to the algorithm and the ad revenue. Like, I'm sick of it, right? That being said, you do whatever makes you happy. Like I said, you can use ad block on my videos. I don't care. Just do whatever makes you happy. So everyone, do whatever makes you happy. Please. Okay. Baking powder, baking soda. I would like 1 teaspoon of baking powder. No, 1.5 teaspoon. No, 1.25 teaspoon of baking powder. I don't know why. That's just what I decided. And I would like 1/4 teaspoon. No, 1/3 teaspoon? Whatever the amount is in this 1/2 teaspoon measure, that's the amount of baking soda I'm putting in. Good God. I did get my boots. I have not opened them yet because I'm kind of nervous. I just don't want to know that they don't fit and then have to start the return process, but I should definitely open them before the end of this week. I know. I will show you guys the boots for sure. Y'all paid for them, so. You will see the goods you have purchased with dine offerings of monetary gifts. I will give it to you. But on my timeline, because once you give me the money, it's my money. It's really weird, y'all. Like, I totally appreciate internet strangers giving me money gifts, but it's really weird because then I feel like I owe you guys something, you know? Money is weird like that, and I don't like being contractual about it. So I'm at the same time trying to like free my mind from both the cultural baggage of the gift culture that I grew up with in Chinese culture, and also this kind of monetary for compensation mindset that we have due to capitalism. It's complex. I don't like money. It makes me feel really icky, but we need money, so I'm trying to find a balance of like sustaining myself without feeling like I'm selling myself, if that makes sense, and I'm indebting myself. I don't want to be in debt. And there's more than one way to be in debt now in society. I did ask. It's true. I did ask. At the time, I was like joking, but then people actually started giving me money, and I was like, okay, I guess I have money to buy these boots now, no excuse. So y'all enabled me to like feel like I could buy the boots, because it felt wrong to buy $400 boots when I was unemployed. Still am. I could, but it felt wrong. But then you gave me the money, so then I was like, okay, I have the money, and they gave it to me to support my boot desires. So then I spent it. Corn flour, aka cornmeal. When I bought this bag, I had no plans for it. Smells kind of funny. It was a 4-pound bag, 4 pounds of cornmeal for $2, $1.99. I actually don't get unemployment. I applied for it and I didn't get it. So I'm not sure if it's being held up by my former employer or it's just bureaucracy or what. I don't know, but hasn't come through yet. I don't know where my Social Security money is going. Okay, that was 127 grams, which is about a cup of cornmeal. I'm going to whisk that in. I thought you only qualify for unemployment if you get fired, not if you quit. Is that not true? Fascinating. Fascinating. This is my first go around applying for unemployment. I've never had to apply for unemployment before because I've always been such a good girl working minimum wage jobs where I knew when I had to quit. So this is my first time getting fired. Actually, it's my second time getting fired. My first time getting fired, I'm gonna add a half cup more. I haven't told many people about the story, but I just told my friend Samira the other week, so I feel comfortable telling it now. But my first time getting fired was not from like a formal job. It was a dude that put up a Craigslist listing for a Mandarin tutor, and I had just returned from teaching abroad in China, so I was like 22 years old. This is a cup and a half so far. It's about 195 grams of cornmeal. I was about 22 years old, or 23 maybe, and he was a chiropractor in Bryant Park area of New York, Midtown. And I would go to his office once or twice a week, I can't remember, and I would try to attempt to teach him Chinese. And it turns out that he didn't really want to learn Chinese. He kind of just spent most of the sessions showing me these YouTube tutorial videos of really sexy ladies trying to teach you Chinese, but like it became pretty apparent that the point of the videos were not to learn Chinese. And he would also tell me about his sex life with his wife, who was Asian, and I was just like, this is really weird, bro. And looking back now, I was like, wow, June, you were a dumb bitch. And I was like, no, I was just young. It took me a while to figure out that he wasn't learning, but even at that time, I didn't really put two and two together. I got really upset one day because I felt like he was making no progress as a student because he didn't seem to be doing the homework I was assigning him, and I got so upset that I started like crying out of frustration, and that was when he fired me. And thank God. But I've had my fair share of Craigslist adventures in New York. Kairos, I think, is what 4i meant. Okay, so this is what the cornmeal texture looks like. I think I'm gonna go in with a little bit of our cassava flour, because cassava flour has a little more of like a glutinous hold, even though it doesn't have any gluten, it just has a sticky hold. And I'll go in with 54 grams to start. And I think that's actually a good amount. I think this might end up being dry. Can you use rice flour? I don't know. I've never made this recipe before. I'm just winging it. You can definitely use rice flour, but in my experience, rice flour tends to make baked goods very grainy tasting. I do not like using rice flour unless you have a chance to rest the dough. And I usually prefer rice flour in the glutinous rice form because that tends to produce a finer, less grainy result. And I also just feel like you need plenty of liquid in the rice flour recipe. Now, we have this batter. We have our additions of peanut butter and fig left over from yesterday, and marshmallow and sesame and ingredients in order to use them. So that's why my kitchen tends to be a mess. What else did I say I wanted in here? Did I want anything else in here? Oh, yes. Okay. I also wanted to put this cardamom powder, and I'm really sorry about the honking. I can't really control it. But I'm going to taste this batter first to see where we're at. Mmm, lovely. That olive oil flavor is coming through really nicely. I love olive oil based cakes, yo. They just make the end result so moist. Good, I'm happy with that. Okay. We're gonna use our lasagna pan from yesterday. And I'm gonna butter it up with our goat butter. Just because I feel like I should use up this goat butter fairly soon. It's been here for a year. Why is taro not as commonly used and found? I don't know, it's probably not native to the Western world. I'm guessing that's why. But I don't know. I could have just given you fake news for all I know. I continue to giggle at all the comments that are like hopeful that Aaron and I will get back together. I see them not only on my personal videos, but also on Delish videos, which is kind of awkward. But it's fascinating that people will wish for something that you don't personally wish for. Okay, in terms of how I'm gonna layer this cake, I think I want to do a skinny layer on the bottom, and then have striations of fig jam and peanut butter going down in alternate lines. So I hope you can see. Yeah, I know. People love the comfort. I get it. I'm not criticizing people for leaving those comments. Like, valid. I get upset too when people break up that I don't even know in real life. But, you know, they did it for them. So I hope you can be happy for us, because I think we're happy for us. I think we're both very much enjoying our lives separately from each other, and the space is healthy, the space is good, and we're finally able to give some time and space to ourselves, which is almost like going on a date with yourself in a way. It's refreshing to feel like I can be perceived differently. Because I think once you know someone for so long, they get used to seeing you in a certain way. Much like how people knew me from Budget Eats and then found this channel and they saw some of the lives where I was like especially depressed or bitchy or anxious or some kind of volatile. And they were like, whoa, you just ruined Budget Eats for me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, girl, but you know, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is all of me. You can acknowledge a part of me that fits neatly into your narrative of who I am, but I don't even fit neatly into the narrative of who I am myself. So that is not a luxury that I can afford myself. But hey, if you want to afford yourself the luxury of just taking one part of a person and projecting it onto their whole, then I guess do you. So this is what it looks like, a bottom layer. And somebody said ube. Ooh, choosing between olive oil and butter is very hard. Yes, these lives are therapeutic for me. As I've said before, I would not do them if they were detrimental for me, because I am a selfish bitch. And I think we all should be a selfish bitch. I'm not using that in a derogatory way. I'm just saying that the way society perceives bitchiness is often in conflict with what we actually need to gift ourselves. And I would rather take society's criticism of being quote unquote bitchy than to continually chip away at myself to be otherwise. At the end of the day, it's just not worth it. Taking someone else's definition of what an L is doesn't mean that I lose. Just means that they think you've lost. Fake. Let me come over here and do this. You're excited I have 2 countertops? I'm excited I have 2 countertops. How to cook for one, learn to cook things that freeze well so that you can freeze and defrost as you need. Like cakes, cookies, they can all be frozen. Not that I will have enough at the end of the week to have to freeze. I'll probably finish this cake within 3 to 4 days given my track record. But if you have more self-control around sweets than I do, then you can definitely just bake something and cut it up and freeze the portions that you don't think you're gonna finish in the next 3 days. I recommend that with fresh home-baked goods that you refrigerate or freeze, preferably freeze, as soon as you can when you know you're not going to finish within 3 days, because unlike store-bought baked goods, homemade baked goods do not have stabilizers and preservatives, and they will go bad faster. They will mold on you if they're moisture heavy, like cakes and muffins. So, you know, By the way, does the thing on the side have a name in Chinese or even in English? I have no idea what you're talking about. What thing on the side? What thing on the side? How am I not overweight? I don't know, but asking that question is kind of triggering for somebody who's always had body image issues, just FYI. I don't really find it too triggering myself, but in case you have friends who are triggered by body image issues, be aware that you might be making them feel uncomfortable. I do gain weight, guys. It does not make me feel good, but that is also something that I've been working on, because guess what? People gain weight. I go through weight fluctuations within a month because of my periods. I go through weight fluctuations because of depression and winter. How am I not overweight? I guess genetics is what I've always thought to be the case, but I can be overweight. But yeah, maybe time to stop commenting on weight in relation to consumption of food. It doesn't hit everyone the same way. Some people are fatter than others just because they were born that way. They have genetic disposition, not because of anything they've done, but because of what they were given at birth. Also, environmental factors. If you live in places that are destroyed by capitalism, you probably have a hard time getting good nutrition, because other people in other parts of the world have either consciously or unconsciously fucked you over. So there's that. Was that too dark? Was that too dark? Sorry, I need an eat break. Getting angry makes me hungry. I'm not saying you made me angry. I think I'm just angry at the world. My favorite way of making green beans is stir frying with lots of garlic. So apparently, like, peanut butter and nut butters are a very common trigger food for people with disordered eating habits. I don't know if that's my case with peanut butter. I've always liked its texture, and I just find it so indulgent. But I do have a hard time regulating myself around it. So it can be a triggering thing for me, for sure. I'm still working on it, though. The Instagram binge eating therapist that I follow, her name is, it's Ryan N. Nicole. That's her handle on Instagram. She says that she encourages a mindset not what you can take away from yourself in terms of what you eat, but what you can add to it. Because limiting yourself to certain foods and prohibiting them just makes your desire to binge on them worse. As you can see, I've done a terrible job of distributing the dough. The smart thing to do with this amount of dough was probably roll it out between parchment, but I was not going to do that for a shitty trash cake. It's just too much work. So now I'm just trying to smooth it over as best as I can and even it out with my trusty little silicone spatula. It's okay if it's not perfect. Nobody gives a shit. Sometimes you do, but you don't have to. A reminder that you don't have to give a shit all of the time. You don't even have to give a shit any of the time. Because if somebody decides to start a nuclear war, you know, that'll be that. Right? Just think about it. We stress all the time over these details of our lives, looking into the future, trying to guarantee ourselves security. But all the while in the background is this hum that we've collectively chosen to ignore, that if anyone decides to just blast off all of these weapons of mass destruction that we have had for decades, it'll be donezo. And then, does that change your way of living? To actually think about that as a possibility? Does it put into perspective the absolute absurdity of our society? And it's not just thinking about the fact that there are weapons of mass destruction, but actually carrying through a thought process where you allow yourself to believe that they will be used one day. What does that do to the way you've been holding this concept of a life in your head for yourself? I guess this is the Thanksgiving dessert I never got to make because I got fucking COVID and didn't see anyone. I like the fact that these lives have enabled me to take time to make shit for myself that I otherwise wouldn't have, because if I didn't do these lives, then I would just be eating peanut butter and figs all day, which I did do for the entire last week constantly, even in addition to when I have gone live. But that is not to say that these lives are not doing something for me. They are. They're making me practice what it means to take time out for myself, and maybe for others too, to craft meals when I have the luxury of time to do so. Because food is communal, and I think a lot of my disordered eating past has made me isolate myself whenever I've had to consume food, because it was such a source of shame. But it changes the dynamic of eating so much for me to eat with someone in the company of other people. And I'm still processing what that means for me psychologically, what that might entail in terms of why disordered eating has been such a part of my life, processing what holes I might need to fill in terms of my understanding of my relationship with food, what food actually does for me beyond just the act of entering my body and giving me nutrition or energy or like carnal satisfaction, what kind of psychological and emotional side effects there are to eating. Anyway, that's that. I'm gonna preheat the oven, I'm gonna grab my food, and I'm gonna come back and read your comments. I'm going to start the oven at 325 because it runs hot, so I recommend baking this cake at 350 probably. Okay, scrolling up to read your comments. Give me a sec. Oh, there's a lot of comments. Holy shit. And I'm totally sorry I called you out, but also not sorry, but also thank you for speaking on it, because anytime somebody makes a comment that triggers me in some way, I find it a very lucky thing to chance upon. It's like you've afforded me a luxury of speaking on a matter that deeply is entrenched in my psyche, that hurts me, that I haven't been able to express fully before. And every time something like this happens, it's a moment of learning, and potentially a moment of also learning with and teaching alongside other people who struggle with the similar thought patterns that I may have. So like, thank you for speaking your thoughts. I don't want you to feel ashamed of the way that you've spoken at all, even though what you said might have made some of us feel all sorts of things that are not good to feel, in terms of like just wrecking our confidence. It is still a valuable thing to discuss, so thank you for giving us the opportunity to discuss it. I don't want you to feel bad, and thank you for acknowledging the impact of your words, but also like, it's not your fault. We're all coming from different backgrounds, and we're all coming from different schools of thoughts, different indoctrinations, and we can't understand each other perfectly, even with time. Like, I've been with Aaron for 10, 11 years. Like, we still have communication problems. So it's only natural that on the internet people get into fights all the time, but that is not the environment I want to curate on here. I want to curate an environment where we are free to speak our minds, and if we clash with each other because we've hurt each other's feelings through our words and not through our intentions, that we can find the space and the patience for ourselves and for others to discuss it rather than attack or brushing it under the carpet or blocking or deleting, or, you know, like if you're a sex bot, we're deleting you and blocking you. Or if you are just a flat out racist who is beyond repair, we're gonna leave you in the dirt. But otherwise, you know, I like this. I like what we have. So all of that to say thank you. I'm still scrolling. Scrolling up. Okay, yes. I'm behind. What are we baking? Sweet potato cornbread thing, with peanut butter and fig spread in the middle, correct. Remember, she has a thing for peanut butter and apples. She could easily tear up some apples. It's true. And then we came on the how are you not overweight comment. We went over that. What is the best way to freeze food without getting freezer burn? Try to get rid of all the air as much as you can. So I like to fill tubs to like 90% capacity because things do expand once they freeze. So give them some space. And then you can put whatever container that food is in a plastic bag to seal off smells. But the longer it sits in there, the more freezer burn will happen, just because of the natural way that moisture separates out during the freezing process. Your freezer also goes through cycles of defrosting and refreezing, so that process will also cause cell structure to break down every time something with moisture is in your freezer. Every time your freezer defrosts, it melts. Every time your freezer refreezes, it freezes, and during that process, no matter how small the temperature fluctuation, it will affect the food. So I really recommend eating your frozen food within a month if possible. 3 months, it will start to go downhill in terms of flavor. It will still be good because freezer basically preserves things in terms of slowing down bacteria growth at that temperature, but otherwise, you know, you're just sacrificing taste for time. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, binge eating disorder. I never was diagnosed with it, but obviously I've struggled with binge eating since college. I was probably some sort of like borderline anorexic / bulimic in high school. And then I went off to college and my pediatrician threatened to hospitalize me, at which point I was like, okay, free food all the time. Also stress eating all the time to avoid assignments, and started transforming that disordered eating for another sort of disordered eating. Case in point, I've struggled with disordered eating for probably almost 2 decades now. Obviously that has gone through different phases and different types, but still trying to work out my relationship with food. It's an ongoing process. It's fine. I'm open to talking about it. Yes, I do try to exercise. It does make me feel good. Mental health wise, if I don't exercise for a week, it starts sliding. So I try to get exercise in. You find what works out for you. I used to really like doing weight training, but ever since COVID, it wipes me out very quickly. So I've had to also cope with the physical and emotional and psychological side effects of COVID. It's really changed my energy levels and capabilities a lot. So I'm figuring my way out with that. Peanut butter obsession is real, man. What's my favorite part about my new home? Being fucking alone. Yes, I too love Chinese stir-fried green beans that are wrinkly. That is the best when it gets like somewhat blistered. Okay, I'm gonna put this cake into the oven, but I'm gonna put it on a sheet tray to give it insulation. Because of the uneven heating of this oven, I feel like it needs extra heat distribution. Help. So I'm gonna do this. As you can see, we did not have a recipe going into this. It was purely by eyesight. I do feel like this cake might come out a little dry because of all the gluten-free stuff, but we'll just see, and then we can always fix it with a little extra peanut butter or syrup of some sort. It's fine. I'm going to start the timer at 20 minutes. I think for a cake that size, we're gonna need 20 minutes. What is that Insta account? The Insta account, damn it, I can't type. Can I write it down on somewhere for you? It's called, it's Ryan Nicole. Here, I'll try to write it really big for you. It's Ryan N. Nicole. So there's 3 N's in a row. It's Ryan N. Nicole. That's the account that I follow on Instagram for binge eating disorder. What is worse, emotional eating to suppress the anger, or just feeling the anger and making yourself have a physical response? I mean, Vera, that's a very hard question to answer. Again, like, all those things are so personal, right? Like, we all have different values. For example, I have no problem acting out my anger, but Aaron does. Aaron does not like acting out angry. He feels bad about himself when he does that, so he does his best to like try to remain calm, but that ends up, I think, from my point of view, suppressing a lot of emotions that I would rather see my partner manifest. That was like a sticking point in our relationship dynamics, where I was just like, I want you to fight with me when we have arguments, but you don't, so you just disengage. So, you know, I struggled with that for a long time, and now that we're broken up, I accept it. It's what he chose to do for him. That was best for him, and it was wrong of me to try to push him to do it my way, because one, that's just like a form of bullying, and two, it's impossible to make someone react the way that you would because they're not you, right? So to ask a personal question like that, I will say that I really don't want to have emotional eating to suppress my anger. I would rather have a physical response. But if the physical response is punching a wall and breaking my knuckles, or like slapping myself, or like, God forbid, cut myself, then I would have to weigh the choices there, right? It's hard. Everyone has different coping mechanisms. They all hurt ourselves in different ways. If you have to rely on a coping mechanism and they're all self-damaging, then I don't know, man. Try to find a different coping mechanism. It would be best. But it's hard. I get it. Damn. I don't even know what nuclear fusion is, girl. And I have not seen second 2 of White Lotus, even though everyone has told me to watch it, yes. Making my birthday cake for tomorrow. You're making your own birthday cake, Allison? I always vote for cupcakes because they're easier to freeze and you don't have to cut them. But you do you, it's your birthday. Hold up. What industry do I need to get in to have interviews where there's food? I'm always down to eat free food. That is a skeleton spatula, yes. Yep. Karen No Name said addiction to food is unlike some other addictions. You have to eat to survive. You don't have to drink or indulge in all addictions. That's why disordered eating is like ongoing, seemingly lifelong recovery and self-negotiation, because I have to be exposed to the trigger every day. Oh, the Fig Newtons are great. I ate like 8 of them yesterday. But I have some here. I put them in the freezer because I really wanted to try them frozen, so maybe we will try them frozen. So yes, the spatulas that I use are Tovolo, Tovolo. Some of them are metal, I think, but not the ones that I buy. I only buy the wooden handled ones, and I only buy the ones with a specific curvature. Like this curvature, this thinness. It goes thinner around the edges. These are very bowl-hugging spatula shapes. I find them very pleasant. Anyway, I'll eat some frozen ones for you. So orthorexia is actually the biggest disordered eating on the rise. Orthorexia is when you're extremely picky about what kinds of food you allow yourself to eat, and it comes hand in hand with our fitness and wellness industries. So I had orthorexia for a long time, where I avoided all sorts of sugar, added sugar, and I avoided all sorts of fat. Definitely have probably recovered, I would say, 90% from orthorexia, but yeah, intense. Lots of layers to disordered eating, lots of reasons for disordered eating, lots of coping mechanisms for disordered eating, lots of self-deception and self-re-education for disordered eating. It's it's intense. We are not, Danielle, we are not getting any more budget eats from me. That show is Hearst property, so if Hearst decides to reboot Budget Eats with another host, they're more than welcome to. But I will not be doing any more Budget Eats because I cannot. And honestly, I do not want to do Budget Eats anymore. I'm done. But I will make my own videos that involves cooking and eating food. So, yeah. Yeah. Wow, so many comments. I'm like 5 minutes behind on comments. My attachment style, I don't know it for sure, but some sort of anxious avoided, probably the least healthy combos. I think being twice an immigrant at a young age really fucked me up. And just feeling like I've had to leave whole lives behind on the fly without my parents like giving me more of a heads up, and being really disoriented as a kid probably really fucked me up. So oh, networking events. Yeah, I would scare all the clients away, honestly. Here's the tahini one. This is a small cut of Fig Newton because I ate half of each yesterday. Tastes great frozen. Holy shit. Hell yeah. You can buy them off of eBay or Amazon. I don't really go into places like Williams-Sonoma because I can't afford shit there. But you can find some good deals on eBay if you want. So I would just say, in terms of recovering from disordered eating, because I see Foria, I don't know how to say her name, I'm sorry. I don't think I can recover from disordered eating because there are too many reasons why my eating is disordered. RIP. I think for me, the emphasis has not been on curing myself of my disordered eating or even fully recovery, because I don't think full recovery is healthy for me to hold in my mind as a goal. I think what is healthy for me to hold in my mind as a goal is to constantly be aware of what I'm doing to myself and trying to develop that honesty of communicating my needs to myself. A lot of what It's Ryan and Nicole does on her Instagram is trying to make you use metacognition to observe yourself, observe your triggers, observe your coping mechanisms, and observe what it is that you're running away from when you are resorting to emotional eating, binging, depriving yourself of food, any sort of restriction. They are probably all stemming somewhat psychologically. It's just either happening too fast or too intensely or too en masse for you to process fully before you start your coping mechanism of controlling your eating. So for me, this has been a journey of like trying to not be afraid of what I'm running away from. And when I have the energy to confront myself about what I'm doing, I don't succeed most of the time. I'm still in a place where if I feel like I need to eat the whole packet of figs and half a jar of peanut butter, I will. Even if I know it's gonna give me the worst poops in the morning and it's gonna make me feel like shit, if I feel like I'm gonna do that, then I just allow myself to do it. Because what I used to do was feel guilty even before I've stopped eating. And by the time I've stopped eating, because I physically could not eat anymore, I was like inundated with not only physical pain and discomfort, I was inundated with psychological shame and emotional brokenness. And now I've chosen to take away half of that, or try to. Now I stop the shaming and I just allow myself to do the coping. And as I'm doing the coping behavior of overeating and binging, I try to turn my mind's eye into a flashlight of like the dark corners of my mind and just be like, okay, June, it's fine. You're eating your figs, you're eating your peanut butter, you are enjoying the physical pleasures of all of these foods and textures entering you. You obviously know that this is not going to end well for you, not just in terms of like gaining weight, obviously, because weight is not the issue here. It's going to cause a lot of physical discomfort, and it's going to stop being pleasurable for you in about now. So why are you continuing to feed yourself these things that are no longer physically pleasurable to you for the most part? Because usually after the first 5 figs with peanut butter, I don't really crave it anymore, but I crave the action of repetition, of tearing the figs in half, dipping them, chewing them, biting through it, like all of it, right? But what am I actually doing in repeating this pattern of behavior? It's usually because I'm feeling stressed about work, anxious about my life direction. I have none. Feeling a source of emptiness because I am lonely and feel like I probably won't find a fulfilling relationship to be in. And I want that companionship, but I also think that it is hard to find it for life. And once I hit that, I'm like, oh, you're worried about the future. You're worried about the abstract idea of the future rather than the concrete now, right? Looking back, you've had a very fulfilling relationship for 10 years, but it ended. And now you're stressed about finding another relationship that can last you, ideally for the rest of your life. But the rest of your life is not a concrete idea. The rest of your life is a very abstract idea. I'm gonna try this peanut butter one now. So, you are basically bringing pain to yourself in the present because you are afraid of pain in the future. And you know, it's nice to do that mental exercise because normally I would just not. It's nice to talk with myself like I'm talking to myself now, but also to you. But just going through that conversation won't immediately change my behavior. It's not a magic cure. It's not a flick of the button that will make me be like, oh, yeah, I'm not disordered anymore. Like, I'm completely healed. That doesn't happen. What happens is a constant dialogue and negotiation with yourself throughout the rest of your life regarding all matters of life, not just what triggers your binge eating or whatever. It's about what fulfills you, and it's about what you're afraid of, and it's about what hurts you, and it's about all the things in the past that have hurt you and damaged you and continue to drive their needle into you in all directions, that you're trying to avoid that hurt from happening again while still experiencing it from the past. It's a lot. Life is a lot. This is why people have depression and anxiety, and why we've depression and anxiety are no longer cool to have anymore, right? Like, we're on to ADHD and BPD for everyone now, because we just keep needing to feel like there's an explanation for why we're all feeling this way. I'm not saying some of us don't definitely have ADHD and BPD. Like, yeah, some of us definitely probably do have it. But just because you're displaying traits of those conditions does not mean that you're ill. It just means that something about your environment is making you unhappy and unfulfilled and scared. And trying to understand why you're feeling all of those negative emotions and experiences is hard, because it's not just things that you've done. A lot of the things that have happened to you have been out of your control, continue to be out of your control, and will forever be out of your control, like a nuclear war. But just because it's out of your control doesn't mean that it's not your reality, right? It could very much change your life very quickly. But is there any use in thinking about it and worrying about it? No. Does that mean that just because there's no use in thinking and worrying about it that we will stop thinking and worrying about it? No, because we're human, right? We're fucked. Either way, we're fucked. So how do you manage to deal with this fuckery? How do you negotiate living in a fucked up world with fucked up situations that you don't even understand why they're fucked up most of the time? And how do you continue to exist with constant grace and forgiveness and kindness to yourself, so that you can then also learn to extend it to others? Because it's not enough to just extend those things to others. It's very important that you extend those things to yourself, because you can become your own worst enemy. I have. And I'm trying not to do that. And it takes constant communication. And it is tiring. And you might not succeed always, but you might succeed sometimes. And it's in the accumulation of the sometimes successes that you learn that you are not hopeless. You just learn that it's hard, but it will get a little bit easier once you start practicing those things. And once you allow yourself to see your own progress, no matter how small, that you may one day find community on the outside and on the inside. And my sprinkles have dyed my fingers. And now I probably have even more comments to read. Oh boy. I am still going to the picket line tomorrow. I plan to arrive around 12:30. I'm going to go to Hearst first, meet up with a coworker, drop off my work equipment with them, and then I'm going to make my way down to downtown where the picket line is. I think I do like the tahini one more because it's more mature, and I'm an old lass now. But the peanut butter one is very friendly. I do enjoy them both. Bali tempeh sounds amazing. Ooh, marshmallows are getting toasty. Five more minutes for a total of 25. Okay. Tempeh recipe, I've never really cooked with it before, but something saucy, maybe something like hot and spicy. Stir fry. I've never been to Germany, but I want to go, and I want to find a husband there so I can get a fucking visa to stay there. Let me know if you have any potential husbands for me in Germany. Why Germany? I don't know. I just fantasize about it. Why have any fantasies about anywhere? I don't know. Irrational. Actually, that's a lie. I do have an answer to why Germany. I consider Germany to be the European Japan, in that it is seemingly orderly, that things run on time, that there's an efficiency and an unspoken code of conduct that makes life very neat for everyone. It also helps that I've seen these YouTube shorts from a Vietnamese creator who I can't remember the name of again, but she has a German boyfriend and she loves to make all these shorts about like the cultural differences between her background and the German traditions, and I'm like, hell yeah, I would love Germany. I also love the German language. They just have so many words that describe so many thoughts that I have. They have a word that Eliza sent to me in an Instagram DM that just means like someone who has a punchable face. They have one word for someone who has a punchable face. Yeah, obviously, most of us probably have heard of the word Schadenfreude, which means taking pleasure at someone else's misfortune. They have these words built into their language that encapsulate whole experiences that we've all felt. Come on. As an English lit major, are you kidding? A language that has words for entire feelings? The efficiency. The efficiency of a dark mind. We all want German husbands now. Okay, Joy, you might not be looking for a husband, but if you see one, tell them I exist. You know where to find me. I think Berlin is the most international part, so Berlin would make sense, for sure. Yes, that is the word. I don't know how to say it, but media girl, look at that word. Look at that gorgeous, nonsensical word. How do you even put letters together like that? Insane. In the membrane. I'm gonna turn off the oven. I'm going to let the marshmallows get fully toasty. I'm gonna set a timer for 5 more minutes before I take them out. I can smell the caramelization of the batter and the marshmallows. It smells delightful. I mean, I guess I'll take a German wife too. I don't think I've ever felt like any sort of romantic or sexual attraction to women in real life. But I could. Or we could just be, you know, political wives. That's fine too. Karen says, Austria has better food and the people are much chiller. The people in German cities look pissed off. Have you seen my face? Where would I belong? Okay. What are the top 3 most racist European countries? I like some of Yoshimoto Nara. Oh, France. I heard from my friend who just went to the Netherlands that they are very racist. Not in like a mean, violent way, but like racist. So it seems like France, Netherlands, and Poland. Okay. Everywhere. Everywhere. We are all a work in progress, aren't we? They just hate everyone who is not vibing like them. How do they vibe? Racistly? German even has a word to describe my feeling about Germany. I mean, if that's not sexy enough for you, I don't know what is. They hate equally. We love undiscriminatory discrimination. What does that longest German word mean? Good God. I'm sure there's racism in Germany. I'm just asking for the most racist. It smells like Thanksgiving. You ready? It's dry on top. It caves a little bit underneath the pressure, but what I've learned in the past is you don't want to over bake gluten-free cakes because they will dry out. So it's bouncing back slightly, which means I think they're done. I'm gonna also eat this marshmallow right here. It's crunchy. I don't know how to deodorize spice cabinet. Why would you want to? My lasagna is great. I'm gonna have to reheat it to eat it. Actually, it's dried out a little bit. Definitely microwaved it too much again. Hot. I don't think I'm gonna cut into the cake until it cools, because that's the thing about gluten-free cakes is they don't really taste good hot. But what I will do is probably post a picture of it on the community tab again, like I did with the lasagna, so you can see it. And I'll probably show it off on a later live as well. We have 37% battery. I think I'm just gonna eat this lasagna, chat with you guys a little bit more, and sign off when my battery runs out, because your girl's gotta chill. So Karen N, are you telling me to move to Wisconsin? You put your potato chips in the refrigerator before eating them? That is kind of weird. I guess, does it solidify the fat in the chips and make them crispier? Interesting. Any ideas? 15 minutes or less. Yeah, salads. Any salad. Gina, did you know that my first job that I wanted to do after college was being a short order cook? I fantasized about being a short order cook. If you don't like salad, do you like oatmeal? If you don't like oatmeal, do you like sandwich? If you don't like sandwich, do you like tacos? If you don't like tacos, do you like burritos? All those things just require you to have a medley of cooked items or canned items or frozen items that you can quickly defrost and wrap or plate. Oatmeal doesn't cook that long, so you can definitely have it and ready for 15 minutes, but my ideal lasagna would all just be top layer, but like 10 layers deep. Noted. So just sauce and cheese and pasta. And crisp. Tofu and an onion. I would go ahead and stir fry that onion until it's nicely browned with a little bit of salt and pepper. While that's cooking, drain your tofu, dab it with a paper towel, cube it up or crumble it with your hands depending on how soft it is, and you can go ahead and just throw that alongside the onions and make a stir fry. Season it with whatever condiments you want, or if you have like sriracha mayo, just do that. Sauces and condiments and spices are essential if you're not a person with a lot of time. You can even buy, you know, like pre-portioned spice packages if you want. I highly recommend sweet potato with spicy lasagna. I am thoroughly enjoying this combo. I am also a huge fan of roasted mashed carrots in lasagna now. The broccoli, it's fine. Could probably go with another vegetable, like roasted cauliflower would be cool, or even like pureed creamed kale, but not so creamy that it's drippy, just like creamy enough so that it's coated. I would love a creamed kale lasagna. Ram, I see you. Damn, girl. Gina, you're standing up all day and then you have to come home and cook? Gotta clone you up. That's why you gotta save your money. When they have that cloning technology, you gotta clone yourself. And then we'll be dealing with Black Mirror shit, but at least you won't have to be the only Gina standing up during the day and night cooking and working. You know? Dystopia will come for us nonetheless. We may do all that we want to stop it, but we are abetting it with our every move. Just accept it. There's veggies in the lasagna, Ram. Didn't you hear? We got broccoli and carrots and sweet potato. Although is sweet potato a vegetable? I don't know. Tomato, onion. You know, the US is a funny country where we think we aren't a lot of things and we think we are a lot of things, but it turns out we aren't the things we think we are and we are the things we think we aren't. Dental hygiene is so hard, man. You gotta look at so many people's teeth. Shit looks freaky. Smells nasty sometimes too. Woof. Full-time teacher, man. That's all you need to say. Possibly one of those most draining jobs ever. All right, y'all. I have finally finished my lunch 2 hours later. I'm gonna go into dinner after taking a nap. I hope you have enjoyed your second day in 2023 with me. I hope that you will find more time and space for yourself and more time for acceptance and dialogue for all. Did I miss anything? I'll show you the cake later on the community tab, okay? See ya.